Welcome back to Pop Culture Explosion. I'm Mike, and I'm here with Paul.
Here at Pop Culture Explosion, we watch all the Marvel movies. We get our Norse mythology going, and then we talk about it with you. Mike, what are we talking about today?
Today, talking about Thor Ragnarok. Spoiler filled.
Wow, that movie that I totally loved. Now, everyone, you might have seen our spoiler-free review because... yeah, I was a bad commentary, and I did not watch that movie at that time, but I watched it this weekend, and I loved it. So, yeah. Mike, let's just jump into this.
Yeah, so, I mean, there's one of the things about this film is it's character-rich, you know? We can start by talking about Thor and Loki and their relational development and dynamics. I thought they did really well with that.
I'm confused, Mike. I can't tell if Loki is this grand genius villain, or if he's a frenemy of Thor, or if he's a good guy. I'm not sure on this piece.
Well, and I think Marvel needs to make a decision. Ha ha ha. I mean, I kind of like what they're doing. I mean, you always root. I like Loki, and you kind of want him to be a good guy. You want him. Want it to work out in the end, but he's always, you can't trust him.
And see, I as a purist of the comics, Loki was a bastard. I mean, He was evil to the core. He hated Thor, and in the movies, it's a different character.
Yeah.
As a fan of the movies, I'm okay with that. I'm enjoying this piece.
Yeah. I mean, he's always going to be out for himself, but I'm a little confused with how his character has grown in that way. So then we have, of course, some development with the Hulk. He's kind of talking more, and
I mean, the Hulk taught complete sentences, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, and we find out, he's been Hulk for a couple of years now.
I think my favorite line was when the Hulk said, "I'm a burning fire, and you're a smoldering whatever." The diss scene between the two I thought was really good. The fight between those two was amazing. And
and Thor got some hits in there. He didn't get his butt completely kicked. And
the thing is, though, we truly don't know who won that fight, because the Grand Master came in and ended it. Let's talk about Hela, a phenomenal, tragic character that I really loved.
Yeah, she was, Cate Blanchett was phenomenal, and she's gorgeous. And I think that they gave her a great story arc, what Odin did to her and everything. So you kind of feel for her. You're like, do it.
And the final scene where the fire demon was destroying Asgard, and she just looked crushed at the end, but she went down fighting. And, this is the first female major villain in the Marvel movies, and she nailed it.
Yep. And then, we got to see a little bit of not so shiny background with Odin. How he was not so heroic.
That was touching. The fact that even at the very end, before his death, he still acknowledged that Loki and Thor were his sons. And I just thought that was really awesome.
Yeah, dad moment.
And I like the flashbacks with Thor because, everything that we knew of Thor in the movies was he drew the power from the hammer, where really the power was within him.
Yeah.
And those flashbacks with Odin really drew that up.
Yeah, that was a neat twist. And we got to see Heimdall. I like how they used him. Had and included him in the story. I'm a fan of that character.
He was good. He's never disappointed me in any of the other films, and once again, I thought he just did a great job in this movie.
Yeah, he's good. And Jeff Goldblum's Grandmaster was very fun, very humorous.
I love Jeff Goldblum. And when I knew he was cast for this movie, I just knew he was going to be an eccentric, funny character, and he did not disappoint.
Yeah, he nailed it.
And by the way, if you have not watched this movie yet, you need to stick around for the final credits because they ended him beautifully.
Yeah. And, we have Tessa Thompson as Valkyrie. I think that as the Valkyrie, great character and development arc there because she goes from this sort of I don't care drunken stupor to becoming a hero again, which is neat to see.
She was enjoyable. At the very beginning, I didn't care much for this character, but again, as the movie progressed, as you see, especially when Loki did that, that mind meld with her, I liked that character and I understood where she was coming from.
Yep. Now, this is something that kind of bugged us was the whole Doctor Strange, whether or not he added value. I felt he was very tacked on. They reused the post-credit scene with Thor, which I thought was like, oh, what the heck, I think you would agree we would have liked to seen him be used far more, especially like maybe in the end battle or just something.
Well, either use him more or don't use him at all. All he did was added some humor to the movie. When Thor summoned his umbrella, that was pretty funny. But all he did was say, Odin is over there in the Netherlands. And that was it. So either use him more or don't use him at all. I think we got a little cheap plug.
It was cheap. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's very tacked on.
So now let's talk about the story. We have Sakaar and Asgard, two major worlds in this movie. And also the post-credit scene, which is rumored to be Thanos. I didn't recognize the ship at all.
Yeah, that's where I read is that that was Thanos showing up.
And in the comics, it was the skull head of Thanos' ship. So at the post-credit season, I'm like, what is that? And some guy behind me said, oh, that's Thanos' ship. I'm like, no, his ship is a skull. That's not a skull. So it very well could be his ship. If it is, I'm slightly disappointed. What did you think of the destruction of Asgard?
That was pretty bold. That's heavy, man. That's heavy. But Asgard, as they said, is not a place. It's the people. So,
did Sakaar live up to your expectations?
It did. I mean, I got the Planet Hulk story I wanted, in the film, and I thought that was great. I think that Korg stood out as one of the characters that kind of really made that whole world come together, and it was just funny, and it was just a great opening to the film before they got on to the rest of the story. So it was a way of saying, F you to Universal and not doing that Hulk movie thing, not being able to do a solo Hulk film. But there it is, fan service.
Now, we would not have a Marvel movie without humor. How would you rate this, Mike, as a comedy movie?
Well, the overall tone of the film was comedic to me. I died laughing pretty much the whole movie. That was the big takeaway for me, is just how funny it was. So that's a huge score for me. 9 out of 10. As far as humor goes.
Well, for me, Chris Hemsworth has just proven that the dude can do action, he can do comedy, he can do drama, and of course, the ladies just love him. He's an overall rock star when it comes to acting.
Yeah, he is.
I thought the humor just added that extra special niceness to the action and the storyline of this movie.
Yeah.
So Mike, with that being said, what are your final thoughts with Thor Ragnarok?
Final thoughts is, this is probably my favorite Marvel film to date, and I think almost just because of the humor, the whole comedic tone, and then all of what we talked about with the characters, all coming together. I think it just makes for a 9.0.
For me, Marvel does not take itself seriously. They know how to make a good drama, they know how to make a good action movie, and they know how to make fun of themselves. And the Stan Lee cameo in this was awesome.
It was genius.
It was amazing. So I would give this movie a solid 9.5. My only criticism was the whole Doctor Strange piece. And yes.
Yeah.
So hey, what are your guys' thoughts? Let's continue this conversation in the comment section below. If you like this video, smash that like button. If you dislike this video, hey, it is what it is. Hit the dislike button. And for future content, hit the subscribe button. You do any of those, you will get your very own spaceship, and we will fly you to the destructive planet of Asgard. So Mike, with that being said,
Peace out.